Oh my God, everybody. This is Steve, robot, and proud owner Clark of an original 160-mile 1979 Vespa P200. There was the old saying that it was the P2 common. That is definitely not the case in this day and age, and especially in this condition. This thing has barely seen sunlight. It's been indoors since new, and until Clark recently picked it up, it basically hadn't been driven or operated in quite some time, as you can see. So clean, in fact, that we figured it was absolutely worth throwing on the little rotisserie and taking a quick shot and talking about some of the amazingly clean and untapped, unmolested, original features that you flat out just never see on American market P200. Original US accessory cut a mirror. Did you see those things every once in a while? Super crusty and nasty and corroded. Look at the beautiful bend. The original style bracket with the funky plastic spacers. Originally sealed beam headlight. We saw that speedometer earlier on. So is the fluorescent orange tip. Generally, like, 6 months worth of exposure to the sun and that orange tip is gone. Beautiful on this. The front fender reflectors down here, which are unique for the US market. Never see those anymore. Haven't had those available spares in ages. Just everything about this thing is clean, original. Of course, the US spec taillight. The original CEV one, those you don't see anymore, but those are always common on all sorts of the bikes that came over from Italy to North America throughout the 70s. Robot's been kind of helping Clark iron out a couple of the bugs, but for the most part, I don't think it's needed too much. What do you got to add, Robot, that I'm missing?
Just a couple basic repairs Clark had to do. Go through the fuel system. Had a little bit of bad fuel that was sitting in the tank for a number of years. Put a brand new original Piaggio fuel line. That's pretty much a the same as the original kind of semi-transparent, opaque kind of looking fuel line. New oil line, new oil tank. A lot of times the oil tanks don't really survive the testament of time, regardless of the mileage. But otherwise, the scooters needed very little to get going.
In fact, we're going to bring Clark in. Clark, tell us, when he first came in maybe 2 weeks ago to buy a couple little oil bits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What did you say? You said you've had this bike, you've been working on acquiring, right?
Yeah, a buddy of mine has owned it for since 2003, and I met him about 8 or 9 years ago, and he told me about this bike. He told me he was just sitting in his garage, and I asked him if I could buy it, and he said no, because his father was a Vespa dealer and was the original seller of this to a doctor friend of theirs in 1979. And that doctor bought it and then just stuck it in his underground storage until 2003 when my friend bought it. And my friend never even got a motorcycle license. So 2 weeks ago, every 6 months or so, I would bug him about selling it to me. 2 weeks ago, I bugged him again, and he finally said, "Okay, come get it."
It's pretty awesome. And now Clark is an avid motorcyclist, and we've got several other bikes. In fact, the first time he came down, I think it was on a pretty large displacement BMW.
It was.
He does live, what, in Carlsbad, right?
Carlsbad.
So, which is a 30-mile ride from there to here.
Yeah.
Tell us about that experience in comparison to the motorcycle.
Well, I was just telling these guys that riding the BMW GS is probably easier than riding this. The workload on this is greater than it is on the BMW GS, just because there's so much more to think about. And the brakes on the GS, of course, they stop on a dime. The brakes on this are merely adequate. That's all you can say for them.
Yeah, that is definitely the case. But I will tell you, like, all the handlebar controls Clark kind of went through and kind of degreased and freshened up, like the throttle return, but I mean, that is as squeaky clean as any. So what do you think? You like riding the scooter more than the BMW?
It's just a different experience entirely. I love them both.
Yeah. It's an avid motorcyclist, pretty much commutes to and from work.
I do, yeah.
Pretty cool. So now you can kind of spice it up. Ride the big bike some days and ride the cute little Vespa on other days.
That's right.
What other plans do you have for it? Anything?
Just put a pretty woman on the back and cruise up and down Coast Highway.
Sounds like that's the Vespa life right there, La Vespa Vita.
Exactly.
Clark, thanks so much for being on camera with us and for showing us this bike.
Well, thanks for your assistance. I came in a couple of times with some questions and asked Jeff a question or two, and instantly he had the answer. I'd come in and I'd say, "Hey, it's not running because of such and such." He says, "Oh, take it home, pull the green wire and see if it starts." Sure enough, I went home, pulled the green wire, it started on the first kick. So they've been very helpful.
Check it out, original tool roll. Not surprised to see that in there, the old Vespa Piaggio bag.
I've replaced one of the tools. It still has the original wood-handled screwdriver that I put at home and swapped it out for one that's a little bit more modern.
Yeah, you can see the modern orange handle that we're accustomed to seeing.
Exactly, the buck one. But the wooden one is at home.
But it's got the flat wrenches in there, which are cool. Did it have the bike pump, the tire pump?
No pump.
That's one that's always pretty rare. I don't know where that was. Now, sometimes weren't they tucked up underneath there?
I think they were under a seat, I thought. Is the bike pump. Every once in a while.
Well, the bike is officially shit now without that. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
That would have just been like the cherry on top of the sundae with 50 candles in it or something like that. Great bike. Don't see them like this very often. Obviously went to the right owner. Clark is going to take great pride in preserving it.
Yeah, we're gonna have
And
fun.
hell, he's going to ride it, you know. Some people would say, how can you ride a bike like that?
That's what they're for.
Absolutely, couldn't agree with you more. So that's it from Vespa Motorsport, Scooter West, San Diego. Steve, Robot, proud new owner Clark.
Thanks, guys.